the highly contagious COVID variant, Delta variant, has been detected in Nigeria. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, confirmed the index case of the Delta variant in a statement, adding that the variant was detected during routine tests for inbound travelers in Abuja. Now, this variant is recognized by the World Health Organization as a variant of concern and linked to the recent spike in COVID in many countries. Joining us for more on this development is Dr. Blossom Maduafokwa, a public health physician. She joins us via Zoom. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening.
Good evening. Now, given all we've learned about the coronavirus since it started, were you surprised by the detection of the SARS-CoV-2 Delta variant in Nigeria?
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I was not surprised because the truth is it was bound to happen at some point. You know, international borders have been opened and with little or no time, this was bound to happen. We know that in places like the US, it's actually becoming the most dominant strain. In the UK, right now, the Delta variant is the most dominant strain. So with open international borders, it's definitely bound to happen. So I'm really not surprised.
What would you say that the measured approach should be for the governments, for state governments, and the relevant agencies on infectious diseases to keeping everyone safe?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to commend the efforts that we have actually put in place so far, because the truth of the matter is the Delta variant actually has become dominant in a lot of countries a lot faster than we've actually had the variants come into the country. And that's because of the protocols and the strategies that we've actually enforced. Like individuals traveling to Nigeria, you have to register on the NCDC website. You have to upload your negative COVID test. And once you come into the country, you have to self-isolate for 7 days and do a follow-up test. So that has helped to a large extent. The only other layer that we need to put on top of that is the non-pharmaceutical interventions that we've been preaching from the beginning of the pandemic. I believe that is where I would say our weak point is, because you go out and people are telling you, oh, COVID-19 is all over, we can go about our lives as usual. We need to keep enforcing the wearing of face coverings. We need to enforce the constant, regular washing of hands, not gathering in large numbers. These things actually work. And with this variant that is highly transmissible, we need to really enforce these strategies and these measures to ensure that Nigerians are kept safe.
So perhaps another critical thing right now is, how do we know with regards to the impact of our therapeutics and vaccines on this variant?
Okay, so it's actually, the data speaks for itself. Yes, we know we're not testing enough, but really the what we call the positivity rates, that's the number of positives you will get in any 100 samples. The positivity rate has really dropped, and that goes to the fact that the transmission has actually also dropped. So we can actually say that these interventions have worked, and we know what can happen when we become lax. India is a case study for the whole world to actually look at and say, once you drop the ball, this virus can go haywire in any country. So these interventions have worked. If you look at what we call the epi curve in Nigeria has dropped very drastically. And that's because of the interventions that we've put in place. And these things actually work. The data actually speaks for itself.
All right, and finally, in terms of the surveillance, this was a variant that was detected in a traveler to Nigeria following the routine travel tests required. Do you think that, are you confident in the surveillance at the ports of entry?
So I had the opportunity to actually oversee some of the work at the port of entry recently, and I will say that our people actually doing what they're supposed to do. We do have that one traveler who has sort of slipped through the cracks, but we do know that the incubation period for this virus is between 2 to 14 days. So if someone, let's say that traveler got tested when they went before they could test positive and sort of they slipped through the cracks, that is possible. But we can actually give it up to our port health service staff members at the airports. I've seen the work they do, and the work they do is actually effective. It's actually work to keep us safe. We just need to add that extra layer of personal responsibility, wearing our face coverings, and doing all the things that we have to do as Nigerians.
All right, we always appreciate your time on the program, Dr. Blossom Madafoka, public health physician. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.